Tim Allen, Will Smith, and Dustin Hoffman are just a few stars who made it difficult to work with. So let's take a look at part 2 of our list of the top 10 celebrities that warned us about their co-stars. Let's start off with Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep and Dustin Hoffman play feuding exes in Kramer vs. Kramer, which seems similar to their off-screen dynamic. When Meryl first heard about the film, she was mourning the death of her boyfriend, fellow actor John Cazale, who died in 1978. Now, according to a 2016 book about her life, Her Again, Becoming Meryl Streep, Dustin slapped Meryl across the face, taunted her about the recent death of John, and even shattered a wine glass next to her without telling her. He was goading her and provoking her, said producer Richard Fishkoff, using stuff that he knew about her personal life and about John to get the response he thought she should be giving in the performance. Now, Meryl told the New York Times, "It was my first take in my first movie and he just slapped me. It was overstepping." Now, that wasn't the only time that he allegedly mistreated her during this time. She also claims that he touched her on one occasion, threw a wine glass against a wall near her head, and raised his voice and criticized her. Up next is Julia Roberts. In a 1993 interview with the New York Times that took place during filming I Love Trouble, lead actress Julia Roberts described her relationship with Nick Nolte, saying that while he can be completely charming and very nice, he also is completely disgusting. "He's gonna hate me for saying this, but he seems to go out of his way to repel people." Nick then responded by saying, "It's not nice to call someone disgusting, but she's not a nice person. Everyone knows that." Now, things were so bad that it was reported that they acted more with stand-ins than they did with each other. Their relationship has seemingly not progressed since, as they still appear to hold animosity towards each other today. Then there's Casey Wilson. In an interview of her podcast, Casey Wilson accused Tim Allen of being so effing rude when she guest starred on The Santa Clauses, his Disney Plus spin-off of the Santa Claus movies. Tim Allen was such a B, the actor said, while recalling shooting a scene in which Tim, playing Santa, enters her character's home and she confuses him for an intruder. He goes over to the producer, who is standing 4 feet from me, and goes, "And I heard him. He goes, 'You gotta tell her to stop stepping on my lines,' she said. The producer then turns to me with horror on his face and has to walk 1 foot to me, and he goes, 'Tim would ask that you stop stepping on his lines.'" Casey said that everybody was walking on eggshells, people just looked frantic, and when he was done, he was so effing rude. He never made eye contact, never said anything. It was so uncomfortable. Now, after they finished filming, she remembered Allen announcing that he was leaving before dropping his Santa coat on the floor and walking out. Let's talk about Janet Hubert. In 2020, Will Smith admitted to making the set very difficult for his Fresh Prince of Bel-Air co-star Janet Hubert. During a one-off reunion on HBO Max, Janet, who played the original Aunt Viv and left the series in 1993, reconciled with Will after a 27-year-long feud, telling him she felt like he banished her. Will then acknowledged making things hard for her, stating he felt like everything was a threat to him when he was on the show. "I can see now the level of pain and the level of struggle that it was just for you to show up every day," he said. To which Janet responded, "But you took all that away from me with your words. Words can kill. I lost everything, reputation, everything. And I understand you were able to move forward, but you know those words, calling a black woman difficult in Hollywood, is the kiss of death." Then there's Alex Pettyfer. While they played friends in Magic Mike, Channing Tatum and Alex Pettyfer were not so close in real life. "Channing Tatum does not like me, for many reasons, many being my own fault," Alex said in a 2015 interview on Bret Easton Ellis's podcast. According to Alex, tensions began because he was very insecure as a human being during filming and decided to keep to himself off set. "That gave me a bad rep because they said, 'Oh, Alex thinks he's effing better than everybody else because he doesn't speak to anyone.'" Now, their relationship allegedly only worsened when Alex rented an apartment from a friend of Channing's and moved out before paying the 4 months back of rent he owed. Now, currently, Channing has never publicly responded to Alex's comments. Moving on to Nicolette Sheridan. Desperate Housewives actor Nicolette Sheridan once went as far to call her co-star Terry Hatcher the meanest woman in the world, according to the show's writer Mark Cherry. Now, there is speculation that Nicolette wasn't the only star who didn't get on with Terry. In 2018, Felicity Huffman posted a tribute to the show online, complete with personalized messages for each of her former co-stars, with the exception of one person only, Terry. That same year, Eva Longoria appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and claimed that the stars were all still very good friends, before correcting herself with 99% of us are. Now, after the finale aired and amid widespread rumors about the feud, Terry said to TV Guide, "I will never disclose the true and complicated journey of us all, but I wish everyone on the show well." Then there's George Takei. Despite being two of the 4 surviving cast members of the original Star Trek series, William Shatner and George Takei, are still feuding. George previously told the New York Times that William was not a team player on set. He said the rest of the cast all understand what makes a scene work, it's everybody contributing to it, but Bill is a wonderful actor and he knows it, and he likes to have the camera on him all the time. Then after George mocked William's trip to space, William retaliated by telling Page 6, "There's a psychosis there must be something else inside George that is festering, and it makes him unhappy that he takes it out on me. Why would he go out of his way to denigrate me? It's sad, I feel nothing but pity for him." Now we have The Rock. Now The Rock joined the Fast and Furious during the franchise's 5th film, and there was no reason to expect drama. But over the course of the next 3 movies though, The Rock overstayed his welcome. He and co-stars Tyrese and Vin Diesel exchanged a number of passive-aggressive Instagram posts. The feud between the two actors erupted during filming The Fate of the Furious in 2017, when The Rock took to social media to slam some unnamed co-stars. Some conduct themselves as stand-up men and true professionals, while others don't. When you watch this movie next April and it seems like I'm not acting in some of these scenes and my blood is legit boiling, you're right, he said. Then in another Instagram post to celebrate the wrap of the film, The Rock thanked nearly everyone in the cast and crew, but made no mention of Vin Diesel, the film's co-producer. Up next is Joan Crawford and Bette Davis. When Joan Crawford died, Bette Davis coldly stated, "Joan Crawford is dead, good." Now, the pair were huge stars in the 30s, 40s, and 50s who just so happened to despise each other. Now, there were many reasons for their rivalry, including jealousy over a man and many attempts to undermine each other's careers. Now, despite their decades-long feud, they signed on to co-star in 1962's Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Now, this might not have been the best idea though. While shooting a scene where Betty's character beats Joan's, Bette was reported to have hit Joan so hard that she needed stitches. Later, it was said that Joan got revenge by wearing a wrestler's belt in a scene where Bette, who had back problems, was supposed to drag her across the floor. Now, the feud went on for years after that, and it was so well known that their story was made into a TV show. Then the release of Betty's film Ex-Lady was overshadowed by news of Jones's divorce, and tossed in a love triangle involving another actor, professional grievances, public and private jabs, and this was a rivalry that lasted until Joan's death. And lastly, we have Aaron Spelling. Shannon Doherty was cast in 2 of Aaron Spelling's hit teen series, Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Unfortunately though, she started to be a diva and be difficult and demanding, so she was eventually kicked off both shows. Now, her exit from Charmed was so bad that Aaron is said to have banned her from all future projects, and her diva reputation has seemed to keep her out of anything worth watching ever since. According to her former Beverly Hills 90210 castmate Justin Priestley, Shannon could be a nightmare. In his 2014 memoir, he claimed her arrogance was beyond the pale during the trip to New York. She apparently had issues with the car that had picked her up and took her to the airport, asking a Fox publicist, "Really, a town car? You sent a town car to take me to the airport, not a limo." Now, according to her book, Deep Thoughts from a Hollywood Blonde, co-star Jenny Garth got along with Shannon like gasoline in a match. At one point, Jenny was allegedly so fed up with Shannon's bad attitude that she lost her cool and yelled, "Come on, B, we're taking this outside." Now, fortunately, other cast members were able to break up the fight before it turned physical. Then producer and writer Larry Mullen told Entertainment Weekly that Shannon didn't ask permission before getting a haircut, so her brand new do wound up destroying the continuity of the season 4 finale. Allegedly, that's what inspired fed up producers to finally kick her off. Well, that's all for part 2 of our list of the top 10 celebrities that warned us about their co-stars. Now, did you know that any of these stars didn't get along? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.